Hello and good evening, everyone, and welcome to Season 2, Episode 10 of the PSAI Talk Show. How are you all doing? I'm sure you must be doing great today, which is such a beautiful day in summer already. We are in summer. Can you believe that? So, I want to know. I can see that there are a few people already logged in. So, could you please share in the chat where you are logging in from? And as you're doing that, let me continue. So let me officially start by saying welcome to the PSAI Talk Show. A little introduction about myself before we jump into the show. As many of you may know, I started my speaking career as a Toastmaster, and then I wanted to become a professional. And so I joined the Professional Speakers Association of India 2 years ago now. I see that Yabijan is from Kerala and Saranjeet Kaur is from Kolkata. Wonderful. Welcome, welcome. So to continue, when I joined the Professional Speakers Association of India, I learned that what I did in Toastmasters was actually build up my skills of speaking. But what you learn in the Professional Speakers Association of India is the business of speaking. Very important if you want to become a professional speaker. And in these past 2 years, if I look back, I can see that I have learned a lot just by being in the company of like-minded professional speakers who are on various levels of the journey of professional speaking. I learned, for example, that we need to have a website. And the basic thing, I need to have a niche. I didn't even realize that one needed to be a specialist actually to become a professional speaker. So I found my niche, I have my website, and along the way, I became the author of 2 books also. So all this would not have been possible without this environment of being in Professional Speakers Association. So let me just look at the chat. The chat is just lighting up. We have, I think that's Pragnya from Dubai, and we have Manju from Chennai, and Pushpendra from Mumbai. Wow, we have people across India right here and even abroad. Welcome, welcome all of you. So a little more about the Professional Speakers Association of India. For the newcomers, you must be wondering what is this and what is this magic that it works on people like me who want to become a professional speaker. You can too. So I will just tell you a little bit about PSAI. The PSAI is an association formed to build a strong community to help you enhance your professional speaking careers globally. The Professional Speakers Association of India is part of the Global Speakers Federation, an organization of 17 national speaking associations of countries which include USA, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, UK, Malaysia, South Africa, and more. We at the PSAI believe that anyone, absolutely anyone, who is an expert in their work or has lived a life with many lessons must share their message with the world. The PSAI Talk Show is a firm step in that direction. It is a live event that is packed with value and insights for speakers, aspiring speakers, coaches, trainers, and consultants. Now, before I welcome our guests, let me also welcome all the audience who have joined us again. We have Darshu from Cochin. I think that's Darshana. We have Farhana Rupam. Hi, Farhana. We have Lokesh from Chennai and Farhana from Bangladesh. Wonderful. So we are a truly global audience here for a global person. And now it is my honor to introduce our guest for today, Brigadier Sushil Bhasin. Brigadier Sushil Bhasin is a military-inspired leadership coach. He's a corporate trainer. He's a global keynote speaker. He's a thought leader and author. He served in the Indian Army for 34 years and applied the principles of military leadership in the corporate and business world for 18 years. He is in the space of transforming lives, bringing his army values and experiences to everyday life. He focuses on human-centric, self-development areas, including leadership, teamwork, time management, and related human behaviors using experiential learning and facilitation as his core tools. He is a global keynote speaker and two times TEDx and two times George Talk speaker. Not only that, he is the author of multiple self-help books. His fluency in both English and Hindi makes his audience pan India and worldwide. Not, and now about him, he is also the former president of PSAI Mumbai chapter and a member of the Asian Professional Speakers Singapore. That's APSS. He speaks on military leadership, time management, leading in the VUCA world, and resilience. Are you future ready? He also conducted a youth development podcast, Zindagi Unplugged, on Spotify. Today, we are very privileged to have Brigadier Basin with us as a guest, and he will be talking to us about Are You Future Ready? Good evening, Brigadier.
Good
Very
evening and Jai Hind.
so I'm so happy that you are here today as a guest because your illustrious career, both in the military and outside, has spanned so many years that I'm sure that whatever I ask you, there will be lots of learning from that. So let me start with what inspired you to pursue a career in speaking after serving in the army?
Firstly, thank you very much, Chimmu, for getting me here and giving me this opportunity to share some of my ideas and thoughts with the audience. Well, what got me into the speaking world is that I have about 52 years of training experience, 34 in the army and 18 in the corporate and education world. Because when I came out of the army, it was totally focused on education, and then I diverted to corporate because schools, colleges were not always available. Having I became very passionate, and nothing in life gave me more joy than training and transforming people. It was only and also, I have been speaking on the stage from class 7. I That is the first time I took part in a school debate, and thereafter in the army or before that in NDA and IMA, it was like speaking was a part of your daily job. When I'm saying speaking, it was speaking in Hindi to the Jawans. Every time you have a Sainik Sammelan or something, you're speaking to them. And so speaking came to me very naturally, and I don't ever remember having something called stage fright or fear of speaking. It's never been there. But till 2018, I had no clue that there was a speaking industry, that speakers get paid very well. I didn't know that. And when I got to know that, and I also got to know that there is a gentleman called Kiruba Shankar who's trying to start something in India as a speakers association. And then I met him. That is before PSAI was formed. And he had come to Mumbai and he was checking up whether, it would be a good idea to create a chapter there and all that. So this gave me an idea that because I am good in speaking, and it would actually be a supplement to the same training and coaching that I was doing, that I jumped at it. So that is how I came into the speaking world.
Wow, amazing, amazing. So you just took your skills which you already had and honed and developed in the from school to college to the military, and you just took it out and you started making money out of it, like which is what we all want to know. How can we transform our skill of speaking into a profession? So along this journey, right, of so many years, and obviously you are a very successful speaker now. So were there any particular experiences or resources that were especially helpful in your journey? And what are the skills that you had to develop to become a professional?
See, I'll tell you, even if I was speaking and I was speaking for so many years, because training also includes speaking and you have to do a lot of speaking. Also, while I was training and I never could call myself a speaker at that point of time, I was getting invited by many schools, colleges, and all to speak. So I was speaking without knowing this. What the real change was that I got to know that speaking is one thing, and professional speaking and organizing your speaking, getting oriented to what the stage requirement is, to understand the audience, and many more things that we have learned in PSAI were something that you are not aware of. So you were going as a novice, as an unprofessional, like public speaker and professional speaker, that's the difference. That you are able to go on the stage and convey your ideas and all that, but you are not doing a structured speech. And that was the difference. So how I got into it, firstly, as I said, for me it was a very gradual growth in the speaking industry. The second is that I realized that you have to learn from experts, and that's what I did. So I am a lifelong learner. That's one of my traits. Even after 52 years of my, 34 years of army experience, when I came out, I went all the way to Sydney to attend Tony Robbins' Unleash the Power Within. I've been to Singapore to do another trainer. I've done Blair Singer. I've done most, I mean, almost all known good trainers. Either I've done their virtual programs or online program, in-person programs. So learning from the experts was one thing. And one of them particularly where I've spent more than 6 lakhs is Sam Cotham, Speakers Institute from Australia. And I think that was very good because I went into an advanced program called Protege. And in that, uh, you got to learn such nuances which I didn't find anyone else teaching. The third thing is, if you ask me what structures or how did I what did I do to upskill myself, is seeking opportunities. I feel the moment you get an opportunity, you must jump at it. And I must tell you a small little incident here without wasting too much of time. That in 2019, we had the first uh, summit of the Professional Speakers Association in Chennai. At night, 10 o'clock, the president of PSAI, that time Kiruba, he called me up and said that we had a speaker who's not coming tomorrow. Can you speak? And I said, why not? And then I was out in a restaurant and he started asking me for details. I said, I'm in a noisy place. Can I come and call you? When I went back to the hotel and I talked to him in details, it was almost 11 p.m. and I was to speak at 12 o'clock. We curated or decided a subject that time. I had no time to prepare, so it was almost an impromptu thing. I put the phone down and I asked myself a question: have I done the right thing? I am going to be facing 150 professional speakers or aspiring speakers. The audience is totally focused on speaking. And am I going to make my first appearance with a flop show? Was I taking a risk with my reputation? But I took it on and I said, no, have the confidence, go and speak, doesn't matter. Seeking opportunities is very important. Never spare a mic. When you get it, take it. When you don't get it, grab it.
Wow, amazing. So, what I learned is even though you had ample speaking experience to convert yourself into a professional, you went further, you went the extra mile, you learned from experts, and through army style, you jumped in with both feet whenever you got an opportunity.
Yeah, but
So,
let me add something and correct you here. No, I am still learning a lot, and the more every day I realize, in PSCI when we have so many of these international speakers coming, I make a lot of notes, and I ask myself, I don't even know this, and in fact, I feel that this lifetime is not enough to know, so I do a lot to keep learning, and I think there's much more to learn on this subject.
yes, so that comes through. You have said that you're a lifelong learner, and it shows in the way you just described yourself that you are really walk the talk. You really take every opportunity to be a learner. So you just gave me a story about PSAI and PSS. So I want to ask you, what motivated you to become a part of PSAI?
So the first thing, as I told you, talking to Kiruba and listening to him that there's an organization or there's a market or industry called the speaking industry, and it's a 2.3 billion industry and it's growing. That was one. Secondly, I thought it was a new thing that was coming up, and we were trying to build up something in India which didn't exist. And I love to be a part of a new organization, be a part of a growing organization. So that was one. The second is uh, that I found that there's a great opportunity there, and uh, I didn't spare any minute. In fact, there was not even a minute of thinking. I just jumped into it, and ever since that day, I think I've never regretted it. It's been such a. I think I took a great decision.
So you decided to join PSAI because you realized that it's a growing and upcoming market, and there is a chance to convert your speaking into a profession. So you
Yeah.
have been from in PSAI from the start. So what could you share some of the benefits that you have gained from being a part of this organization?
So I'll be very crisp on that. Firstly, you said something about GSF, so people know it. Being a member of PSAI means you are a member of GSF, which means you get a lot of discounted offers, you get a lot of free opportunities. I still remember that I attended a program of CAPS, which is Canadian Association of Speaking Professionals, and that was one of the best programs I attended, and it was costing $200 to a non-member, and we got it for free. I am also a member of the APSS. So in 2019, when we had gone to Chennai, that is that time when we had two speakers. Of course, Frederick Harron, who's I would say the godfather of PSAI, because he's the one who helped us come to make this association. When he told us about the APSS, and there was a summit happening in May, I jumped at that also. I told you I look at opportunities to learn. So in May 2019, I was in Singapore listening to the best speakers of the world. I mean, you were seeing on the stage people who get $220,000 to $30,000 an hour. And that is where you realize that this is what the market is. Seeing them, hearing them, and being in that environment of APSS was something great. Uh, I also find that there are many opportunities, whether they are in PSCI or APSS or directly from GSF, which include mentoring. Like I'm undergoing a mentoring program from a gentleman called Tom Abbott in APSS. Now, this is a one-to-one mentoring program, which would cost you quite a lot, but we are doing it for free. That's the advantage of being in PSCI. As you also mentioned sometime back, a beautiful community. We have a lovely set of people, and I have not seen any organization, any community which for free supports each other, uh, recommends you, comes and talks to you for free only because they want to promote each other. It's not a competitive one. It's not where you feel bad that somebody else will take away your stuff. There is immense knowledge sharing. Now, in PSAI, as you know, Chimmu, we have almost 20 learning events online every month. And in addition to that, we also have some offline meets. Of course, in COVID, we didn't have, but now they've started. So, a lot of networking, a lot of knowledge sharing, a lot of support for each other is something very good. And the last thing I'll tell you, which is my number one benefit from PSAI. In PSAI, we have members who are very new. They are novices. They just entered into speak. They're actually aspiring speakers. They start from a zero. And there are people who are already global professional speakers. So we have people in that scale of 1 to 10. You'll find every stage there are some people. So there are some people who are learning, and some people. So we're learning from each other. Now there are some people who, on a scale of 1 to 10, could be at 7 or 8 or 6. You learn from the international speakers that keep coming, and the best part is that you become mentors to others who are new. So you also have an opportunity to giving. It is not all, life is not all about receiving, it's also about giving. And I feel that in PSCI, all of us, including people like you're still 2 years old, but I've seen people who are just 6 months old, even they come and contribute. So receiving and giving, give and take, breathe in and breathe out. That's what I feel, that you can't breathe out till you breathe in. So you learn and you contribute. That's a big part of PSCI.
Yes, I totally agree with you on this. I have been on the receiving end of so much advice and support. And also last year, as your role as education chair for the for PSAI, I know how many events you have arranged and how many speakers you have brought in from all over the world, which has really helped me personally to learn more about this business of speaking. So moving on to now from PSCI to yourself, sir. So what would be the main topic or area of focus in your current speaking engagement?
Okay. So one problem that I've been having in life
Mm,
is I'm all over. And I had a coach who's also
mm,
a professional speaker called James Taylor. So I took his personal coaching, and he taught me one thing. He said, 1 inch mile and 1 mile deep. No, I was speaking on many subjects. I was into training, speaking, this, that, talk of anything, and my hand is up, I'll do it. And he said, narrow down your options. So I've been speaking on military leadership. I was speaking on time management. Uh, Before that, I was talking on leadership and team building. So I still speak on some of these subjects, but after having written my book on time management called $1 Million Second, I for quite some time was concentrating on that, but it didn't seem to work very well for me. So one thing in a speaker should also be agility and adaptability. If the market is not looking for that subject, switch if you can, wherever, of course, within your expertise. So I got an opportunity in May last year when when I was asked to speak on "Are you future ready?" by an organization in China, and that became uh, a subject which I thought was trending. It was received very well. I got an overwhelming response from there, and then I started something like, "This is a subject that I must do." Having, when that was posted on social media, I started getting a lot of queries on this subject, and then I started studying more of it and adapting it to what I wanted. And then uh, I have been able to speak on this subject for more than 10 gigs in the last about 6 months. So this is a subject that I really speak on. Are you future ready? Which goes with
So there is
resilience.
yes, absolutely. So there is a lesson which I learned in this small answer of yours. That is, don't be all over the place. Have one focus, have one niche. Be ready to adapt to what the market wants. Sometimes it may not be what you are primarily speaking about. Sometimes it may be something that the market wants and you are able to give. So now let me ask you, just spoke about future ready. And why do you find it important to address this topic of being future ready now?
So the reason is that it is absolutely crucial for any leader, any professional to be prepared for the future. Why? Because there is a dynamically changing world around us. The markets are changing, the trends are changing, technology is changing. Now, changes were happening earlier also, but the difference between the change earlier and now is the speed of change. The rapid rate at which changes are taking place is something phenomenal. I don't know whether you will be aware that the rate of change itself is accelerating. And it is believed by experts that in the next 8 to 10 years, the speed of change would increase by 4x, which means that you will, in this century, in this 100 years of this century, you would probably see a change of about 20,000 years. That is the type of change that's happening. Now, if you are not prepared for this change, then you will never be able to succeed. You'll never be able to stand out. You'll never be able to face competition in whatever market you are, in whatever expertise you are. So, therefore, being prepared for the future is a must. And I think COVID came at a time when it really taught us that lesson, because that was one thing which nobody in the world was prepared for. And how different people responded and reacted differently. And people started understanding that if you are not, for example, organizations which didn't even have 6 months reserve, they flopped immediately because they couldn't survive financially, they couldn't pay their employees. But at least one thing that was taught in business, that you must have a 6 months cash flow always with you. Now those who had been, that is being part of being ready for the future. You didn't know COVID, but you knew that any crisis, could be a flood, could be an earthquake, could be anything. You should be ready. So COVID highlighted this very, very well. Now, there are a couple of more things. I could go on talking a lot about why it is important to be future ready. But uh, some of them are that to stay ahead of the competition, to be better equipped to face any situation that comes, uh, to remain relevant in the industry that you are, and uh, being able to effectively deliver, you have to be future ready. How it happened with me, and it worked very well for me, is that it was a part of our basic teaching and training in the army. You will agree that army is known to be an organization which goes in for meticulous planning. When we go in for a war, right up to the last minute detail we prepare. But this preparation lasts only till the contact with the enemy is made. The moment the contact with enemy is made, there is chaos. And all our lives we were taught how to handle chaos. So when I talk about being future ready, it is very easy for me to relate to this factor, that we handle chaos. And I was speaking at a Southeast Asia conference of the Professional Management Institute, PMI, and those people who are experts at management and expert at processes, they were highly impacted by the way I told them how we plan for the future, plan for a war well in time. So that is my response to your question on why do I speak on this subject, why it is trending, and why it is important for all of us to be prepared for the future.
And I totally believe that the army really, really prepares you to face anything and be ready for the future indeed with minute planning. So now since we are in a speakers association, so let me get that question into the speaker society and ask you, what are some key steps or strategies you recommend for speakers who want to stay ahead of the curve and remain relevant and effective, because in this landscape of public speaking is always changing. So in other words, how can speakers become future ready? What would
Very
you
good
advise?
question. Very good question. Uh, a little flashback, and let's go back to about 3 years ago. When COVID came, we started hearing things in the month of February that there was something happening in China. And in India, we thought that's not relevant to India. We are temperate climate, nothing will happen. And, we are very immune to such stuff and all that till COVID hit us. But in the meantime, I still remember a very interesting conversation between Frederick Harron and I'm forgetting the other person. Both of them are very highly placed speakers, and they were talking about the speaking engagements getting cancelled. So it was very, very early alarm that all people who are depending entirely on training and speaking are not going to get their engagements. I was in Dubai for a training in the month of February. On 10th February, I came back from Dubai, and it was soon after that, that I got my first. When I'd gone to Dubai, I got two very good assignments from the month of May. But within 20 days, I got a message that they are being cancelled because of COVID. Then there was a very sought after program that I was looking forward to was a pharma company in Mumbai, and they had given me a set of 6 programs to be done, and that was going to be a very good thing for me. That got cancelled. I immediately called up my team for a meeting and said, let's reset our goals. We'll have to do something else. And in the month of May, I launched a program with one of my students. I had a student in a program I used to run called Train the Super Trainer. And Jogesh Jain, who was one of my very good students, came to me and said, so why don't we convert TTST into TTOT? And TTOT was Train the Online Trainer. So we used to start the program by saying, when the going gets tough, the tough go online. Okay. Now we created a program, and on 20th of May, we launched our first batch, and we did about 8 batches on training all the trainers who were sitting at home, didn't know what to do because all the in-person trainings had been cancelled by then. And we did super great during COVID. So the first lesson was that adaptability, that trainers have to always look out at new opportunities and not only stick to that one plan, that one PPT thing, the one gig that you have got in your mind. You have to be prepared for different forms of delivery. Now, when online became very important, in 2 years, we got to understand Zoom. Luckily, I knew Zoom 4 years before COVID. So it was an edge for me. And in TTST, I used to talk about that as a trainer, let's be prepared for multiple ways of delivering. So today, when you ask me this question of how do speakers be ready for future, one is keep your eyes and ears open, have your antenna out, and look at the trends that are happening. Uh, whether it is speaking, technology being used where holograms are there, where your speech can be translated into multiple languages. You may be speaking in English, but your audience could be listening to you in German and things like that. All these things you have to be prepared. So as in any other case, look at the trends, look at technology, because one of the main things that is changing is technology. So in COVID, we heard about hybrid programs. We started looking at, when I was a mentor and I was involved in the organization of PSS 2022, we started looking at organizing a hybrid. It didn't happen for various reasons, but we were prepared. So that is a way I think a speaker will have to change the attitude and be prepared. And also, you see, be bold and take risks. Just jump into the field, just jump into the water and try it out. Be prepared to fail. Be prepared to fail. I'm never scared of failing. I've done blunders on and off the stage. But people take you as natural. You're a human being. You can make mistakes. As long as you don't repeat them, as long as you don't make a mess of it. So I think these are some of the things I could say that speakers could do.
Very, very practicable and advice which you have already put to use, and we can see that. So, what speakers can do today is be adaptable, look out for new opportunities, keep your antenna out for those trends, and keep your eye on technology. Overall, be bold, take risks, and be prepared to fail. Very,
And
very,
another thing, Chimmu, I like to add,
uh, yes.
which I think we are doing a lot in PSAI,
Mm.
networking. Now, if you are, I learned a phrase from Sam Cawthon, and that is proximity is power. Proximity is power. If you hang around with the good speakers, you are in touch with them, whether on LinkedIn or on WhatsApp or whatever way, and you're constantly in touch with them, or you're interacting with them on various things, you will be able to uh, get a hang of what is coming up. Like, I first heard of Chat GPT in PSAI. Okay, so you can learn from each other, and because all of us speak on different subjects and all, and we have different networks, if you network well, that is another way of knowing what the future trends are.
Absolutely. And an association such as the PSAI, right, gives us so much opportunity to network within ourselves and also with any speaker which comes up to speak to us or in any of the other associations. So I want to now move on to one question which has been asked many times, and I want to know your answer on this. What is the advice that you would give to aspiring speakers who want to follow in your footsteps to achieve success? Are there any
Yeah.
key habits or practices that you recommend, or any mistakes that you advise them to avoid? What would your take be on this topic?
So there are many things I would like to say which I've learned in my journey. One is, develop a growth mindset and not a limiting mindset. Be prepared to grow. Don't compete with anyone, compete with yourself. Make your goals clear and just set about achieving them. Now, if you are focused and you do this, I think it would be a no fail situation. Another thing that I have learned a lot is, we we look at others, we say they are, see them doing well, and we say, let's, I'm very happy to see Chandra Sharma there. I was just going to quote him actually. So uh, what happens is, when you get to when you know that people are doing well, you immediately uh, learn from them. Don't become them. Don't become that. I mean, like, I love Chandra Sharma as a speaker, and he's a very good friend. No, I can't become Chandra Sharma, whatever may I do. But if I pick up some of his good qualities and say, can I imbibe them? So imbibe good qualities, compete with yourself, and seek opportunities, keep moving ahead. uh, don't worry about failures. Don't worry about failures at all. You'll have failures. Only those people who do something will commit mistakes. I used to have a commanding officer in the army who used to say, you want to make sure that you don't make mistakes, don't do any work. No work, no mistakes. Okay, so that doesn't work. So I feel that um, yeah, another thing, sorry, document. Speakers and trainers don't normally do, but when did you speak, on what subject? You come back, do a little introspection, get feedback from the audience, get some honest feedback, find some people who can give you real good constructive feedback, and improve every time. See, a lot of people are making the same mistake over and over again. And I again learned this in the army from a golf instructor. There was a golf coach that had come to our place, and he was very expensive. So I didn't take that coaching because I thought I couldn't afford it. So one day I was on the practice tee, and I had 100 balls, and somebody had told me, every day you must practice with 100 balls. Now, he had just finished a coaching session. He saw me practicing. He came and stood there, watched me for some time, and he said, Brigadier, can I suggest something to you? I said, yes. So he gave me one solid tip. And that was only that I shouldn't bend my left hand. That was all. Left arm. Don't bend your left arm. Keep it straight. He told me how to do it. He demonstrated that to me. He said, the way you are hitting, if you hit 100 balls every day like this, you will never be able to straighten your arm because you are practicing bent arm. So if you are practicing something over and over again, but not taking feedback, and this I keep saying in PSAI also, we have this little problem. that after a person has finished a speech, everyone must say congratulations, very well done, very well done. It is actually, you are spoiling that person. It is good to say well done, and then after that say, but you could do this better. If you don't give that constructive feedback, that person will keep making a mistake till he'll become so good at making that mistake that he'll not be able to come out of it.
Yes. So, what you told us in short is, for a speaker, for an aspiring speaker to become successful and to follow in your footsteps, we need to have a growth mindset, compete with ourselves, make clear goals and achieve them, and don't worry about making mistakes, because it means that you are moving forward, but don't make the same mistake twice. Learn from your mistakes and move forward.
Yeah,
So I
absolutely.
see that there is a question in the chat, Ram Prasad. I will just read it out for you, and I ask all the other members also, if you have any questions, please put it in the chat. So thank you, Vinay. So the question is from Ram Prasad: if we follow the latest trend, and if it is not in line with our niche or experience, then what do we do?
Okay. Uh, See, there is academically and realistic and conventionally, we should not jump out of our, so you keep the basic umbrella. Like for example, if I'm talking on leadership, there could be aspects of leadership which I can still take on. So if, for example, I was doing time management and I found it was not trending in the context of people are not prepared to pay. They were okay, free workshops, any number they were coming, but they were not paying. So you saw the market trend, but I would say to Ram Prasad that it should still be within your. I mean, now I can't start talking about financial stuff, and I can't start talking about things which are not in my expertise at all. But within the niche, within, and we could be in the periphery of the niche, because there are some things which are called closely related. So you can take that on. And I feel that if there is something which is trending and you know it's going to carry on for some time, it is better to pause for a while, become an expert at that, and come back. And again, one more thing, it is not one answer for everyone. It is also an individual capacity of learning quickly, of responding to something. And there are many people who can get away with anything and speak on any subject. I don't think they should be uh, putting a break on their speaking just because they were told that don't step out of it. So it all depends.
Okay, thank you. I hope that answered your question, Ram. If there are any follow-up questions, please add. So now and I request all the other viewers also to please put their questions. We will take a couple of them before we go into the rapid fire round and come back. So we have a question now from Sandar Sharma. He says, how do you look at the future of professional speaking with AI taking over so strongly in every field?
Very, very good question and very relevant. Uh, and maybe later after this talk, I will put on LinkedIn at least, or maybe on YouTube also, a link of a YouTube video which you all must watch. And that is the question that every one of us wants to know: will AI eventually replace us? And the answer is no. The answer is a big no. Today, a lot of things are happening where you feel that now, it's scary. Chat GPT is totally scary because it does something beyond your imagination. But can AI write a script on its own? No, it can't. It can't. There are three things that chat GPT, that AI will not be able to do: creativity, imagination, and innovation. And these are the three skills which in colleges and all I talk to students and say that your future success will depend on how you can cope up with the speed of change and build your creativity, imagination, and innovation, because that is what robotics and AI are not going to be able to do. So that is one thing. The second thing is that the ideas that if I want to share an idea with the world, AI can't come out with that idea. My idea will be my idea. Also, most of us have understood one thing, and I've learned, I mean, Chandra Sharma is far ahead of me on this: stories. AI can't build up a story. My story is my story. No, nobody else can have that story. So if you have mastered the art of learning from your life, converting it into stories. Tomorrow I'm doing one talk in a college where I'm expecting an audience of about 200 people. It's only on, they just told me to speak on your story. And I'm going to be talking about 10 stories of my life with 10 lessons. The reason is, I didn't know that I had so many stories in my life. I hired a branding expert for my website. She came, and right in this room, she did an 8-hour session with me, which she called, what is it? Discovery session. She helped me discover myself through very good tools. I mean, it was not like just there were proper tools, processes which she went through. And after that, she gave me a draft of 5 stories which are there on my website. It's a very unique thing. Not many websites have something. So if you go to my website and see about me, and then about me, there is a candid chat, and there is I think candid chat only has 5 stories. I never knew there were stories of my life. In all the questions that I was answering of hers, she built stories around that and said, this is what you have done. So I think that will beat any AI effort.
So very, very comprehensive answer, which puts to rest forever that professional speakers cannot be replaced by AI.
And I
So
was talking
please
about
keep.
that, I was talking about that YouTube video. There is somebody, I don't know his name. So he said that he asked this question to ChatGPT, and ChatGPT said that AI can never replace humans.
So we have it from the automation's mouth.
Horses.
So so we will now go into a rapid fire section. I request the audience to please keep those questions coming. We will take it after this section. So we are going to start the rapid fire round now, sir. So the first question: you are the author of several books. If I asked you to pick one favorite quickly, which one will it be?
$1 million second for sure. It was published by CNBC. It's endorsed by Brian Tracy, and I put my heart and soul into that book.
Wow. So recommend everyone to read that book, $1 Million Second. So the next one: if I ask you to describe yourself in one word, which word will you choose?
Dashing.
I would have thought you would have said lifelong learner.
That become
Okay.
3 words, huh?
So yes. All right. Dashing brigadier in future. Please address him as that. So which current book are you reading?
I'm reading a book called The New Leadership Playbook by Andrew Bryant. So it's a very, he's a person who wrote on self-leadership. And he's also a professional speaker. He's a member of APSS. I had met him there. So we have become good friends. And this book is totally different, and I'm really enjoying it.
So that's a recommendation for all of us here. So I learned that you just came back from a holiday in Vietnam today. So what is one memorable incident which impacted you?
So I would say Kochi tunnels. Kochi tunnels are the ones where the Vietnamese, to hide from Americans in jungles, they made a 250 kilometers network of tunnels which are underground at 3 levels to hide themselves from there. And that was really, really like remarkable. It also brought in a lot of lessons. So although we were on a holiday, we were enjoying sightseeing and all, but somewhere the mind always is open to learning. So yeah, it was good.
So that is the one which you have taken away from there. The ingenuity of
If,
people.
if I want to tell you about the learning, the one learning there was being humans. Why did Americans ill treat and be so cruel to these people? If you go and see the museum and you see what happened in the Kochi tunnels, um, I mean, it really makes you feel very bad.
Being human, yes, this which is what we all aspire to be at the base, right?
Yeah.
So your favorite tip on time management? One.
Time consciousness. See, I've got about 150 tips on my YouTube channel,
Hmm,
and each one of them has a lot of meaning. But
hmm,
this is the mother tip, time consciousness, because
okay. Hmm,
that's establishing your relationship with time.
all right. And one person who influenced you in the world of speaking. One, only one,
Mine
who
is
influenced you the most. Hmm,
Sam Cawthon.
okay. And the best piece of advice you have ever received?
That was from my grandfather when I was a very small child. When he says, "Don't stoop down to people," like when you want to take revenge, if somebody's been bad to you, I'll be bad to them. So he says, Was it good that he did that? I said, No. Then he says, No, you'll do exactly what he did. He did a stupid thing, so now you want to become stupid to do the same thing. So ever since then, I mean, I've learned one thing in life. I forgive people for what wrong they have done. If they have done wrong, doesn't mean that I will pay back in wrong to them. So I'll still remain at my level and try to lift up that person to my level rather than stoop down to his level.
Thank you so much. So we have come to the end of our questions. If there is any questions from the audience that you would like the dashing brigadier to answer, please do put it in the chat. We will wait for a few seconds. All right. If there are no questions, you can always catch up with the brigadier on his website, on his YouTube channel, and he's always available for us. So thank you so much, Brigadier. 1 hour just passed by in a flash when listening to you. It has been such an honor and a pleasure to listen to your experiences being distilled out in such pearls of wisdom. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
To the audience here, let me just summarize what the Brigadier or the dashing Brigadier has told us. He said, how to be future ready, especially for speakers. Be aware of the trends and be ready to pivot, learn new ways of presenting and delivery. And also, he says, don't compete with others, compete only with yourself. Be a lifelong learner, be human, network. The network of speakers in PSAI, GSF, and everywhere is what is invaluable. This is through this network you will get hints of the future, of the trends, and just being friends with everyone. So, as the Brigadier has left us with this note of be human, don't take revenge, be good. These are actually the distilled, wisdom of his years of service and his life that we are privileged to learn from him today. Thank you so much, and I hope all of us, including me, will take all these pearls of wisdom and be future ready. So, with that, we come to the end of today's talk show. Thank you very much. Until next time, bye.